So it crossed my desk that most college football bettors have showed up to Vegas to pick Colorado to win the Big 12 championship. That is how much interest still remains in Prime's Colorado 1 year after getting the job, right? Now, all of the exposure, all of the attention I thought was well earned given what he had done at Jackson State, right? Talking about double-digit winning seasons, winning the SWAC, showing up to the Black College Football National Championship, not yet getting a win, right? And then going to Colorado where you're getting the resources necessary to build what you think is not just a program that people talk about, but a program that wins. Deion took Colorado from being irrelevant to absolute relevance, and this is one example of that. I thought one of the things that really struck me was the odds that are on for Colorado to win the Big 12 championship. As a matter of fact, I want to make sure I get this right, so I'm consulting my second screen over here. My gosh, dude. I knew that Utah was going to be the favorite to win the Big 12 conference, and you could see that in the media polls. And really, people that have my job, one of the things that we need to do is predict to you who we think is going to be there at the end. Utah, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Kansas, all four of those teams feel like they can win the conference championship. They're returning outstanding quarterbacks. They have great coaching. They know the direction that they're headed in, and they are chomping at the bit to be the team that takes over the Big 12 conference now that OU and Texas have exited, Texas Christian notwithstanding. But then you go down the line and you get to Central Florida, Texas Tech, Iowa State, Arizona, Texas Christian, West Virginia, and then Colorado. West Virginia probably feels some kind of way about this because they snuck up on people and won 9 games and really are a team to watch as a sleeper in the Big 12, especially if they up and get a win against Penn State. They're not going to be a sleeper anymore. Many people are going to expect them to be there at the end with this 16-team league. But the odds, if you bet on Utah to win the conference championship, it's plus 300, right? On Colorado, it's plus 2,800. Also goes to Vegas, right? Because I was thinking about, okay, what does this mean for the national championship if people expect Colorado to win the Big 12 championship? They're getting the 4th most money bet on them to win the whole damn thing. 5% of all the money that has been bet on college football national champions in Vegas, according to Fox Bet, has been on Colorado, a program that hasn't sniffed a conference championship game since it was last in the Big 12, a program that hasn't put out a first-round draft pick in some time, a program that we really forgot about once it left and went to the Pac-12 and now has returned to the Big 12. But again, that's the culture of Prime. Whatever he's been able to put his hands around has gotten its attention. Now, on a football field, you'd be right to go, yo, dog, the national championship? Like, conference championship feels like a stretch, but the national championship? Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, LSU. I mean, you can keep going down the line before you get to a program like Colorado. Like, I think Colorado is one of the top 50 programs in the country. Okay? There are also only 68 Power 4 teams, right? And no matter what you think about what Prime can do in year 2, you do have to take into account what we expected them to do in year 1, what they overachieved doing, and then kind of fell right where many thought they would. Started out 3-0, get a tremendous win on the road against a top 25 Texas Christian that is coming off of playing in the national championship game and having won the having earned an invitation to college football playoff to beat that Michigan team that earned out to be really good the next year, only to get beat down with the worst bowl loss in bowl history, to come back and take a loss to Colorado, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, and Dylan Edwards. Then you win the next 2 games. You beat a Nebraska team that finished 5-7, and you beat a Colorado State team that has a head coach that seemed to can't take his foot out of his mouth, right? That's kind of what you're looking at, and then some this year, because you got to play North Dakota State to open the year. North Dakota State is an 8.5-point dog in this game against Colorado. And I think that that's correct, right? I think that's correct. I think you look at North Dakota State, who lost their head coach, Matt Entz, to USC as a linebackers coach. You're really trying to, and David Braun to Northwestern. It's going to be difficult for that new staff to show up and really put on in front of what is going to be a sellout crowd for this game. But for Colorado, you know that there's no wins here, dog. And by that, I mean, If you manage to beat North Dakota State, nobody's going to give you props for that. If North Dakota State beats you, people are going to make jokes about that. As a matter of fact, the money in the bag says $700,000 is going to North Dakota State, win, lose, or draw. If they beat you and get to take your money, I don't think there's a whole lot more that would make me more upset than somebody emptying my pockets and me taking a loss. Now, that said, I don't think that's going to happen. Let me get out in front of that. I also think that I can't wait to see this offensive line that Phil Loadholt put together, because I think Phil Loadholt has got recruits. He got guys out of the portal. He got guys from power conferences, but you play in a power conference, so that's what you should get. It ain't like getting power conference guys to go to FCS Jackson State, HBCU Jackson State. Phil Loadholt also has a 5-star offensive tackle in Jordan Seaton that you hope turns into Kelvin Banks. Even so, you're going to need to be able to run the ball. Can Dallin Hayden carry the load? I think he can. Will Travis Hunter still get that help on the outside? I think he will. I don't even think he's going to be the best wide receiver on that team this year. And then defensively, is Robert Livingston the sauce? Is he the guy that is going to push you into a space where you are competing for a conference championship come December? Are you going to be a team that's talked about in the college football playoff? Because while I think Prime's got a point that if he was coaching Florida State and they were undefeated, would you leave them out? The answer is no, you wouldn't, probably because he is Prime. But I think that's also if Shedeur Sanders was not the quarterback of that Florida State team, yeah, you probably would leave him out, right? All things being equal, it's about the quarterback. And many people believe that Shedeur Sanders is a first-round talent. He is the most important, if not most valuable monetarily, player in the country. And Prime knows it, but you got to protect him because you can't let that dude take 50 sacks this year. Like that was one thing. The thing that still bothers me the most is that he broke his back and we don't talk about it. They broke a vertebrae in the man's back and we don't talk about it. That feels like a very big deal, guys. Feels like something that we kind of be glossing over with this. And I know here of recently Colorado fans seem to think that I just kind of turn on him. I'm like, nah, dog, I'm looking at the roster. The roster looks about as good as it did last year. And you're telling me that it's better. And I'm going, okay, show me. I will change my opinion when the facts change. Right now, you 4-8. You coming off a losing season. You gave up 294 receiving yards to Alec Ian Manor, a Stanford team that was sorry in 2023. And you're asking Travis to go both ways again. There's just a lot here because now that we've seen it, we're going to want to see what you can do about it. And the Big 12, as much as you might like to think this, is not no easy conference. It is the deepest conference in college football. It's not the strongest, it's the deepest. You got 12 teams in a 16-team league that nobody would be shocked to see win the conference championship. And right there at the top, you got some folks that have been chomping at the bit to try to get into the college football playoff for the first time, and they are more than willing to try to trample over Ralphie to get it done.